he could become the caretaker of the master's household, and descendants of such people were royals. Okay, doesn't that sound familiar? Shit, that's written all up in the scriptures, man. Didn't that happen to Daniel? Bro, look, man. All right, it says, similarly, female slaves could become wives to royals, and likewise, their descendants were royals. Think of the story of Esther. Okay? Also, some could shift from one community to start a community for themselves, and by that, all would become royals. This particular incident repeated itself in the Atlantic world. Famous among them would be Brazil and Jamaica. In Brazil, there were quilombos, where an enslaved African, for whatever the reason, could escape from the plantations' brutalities to have some peace. Okay? Same situation was in Jamaica, and such were known as the Maroons. Today in Ghana, many are the chiefs of various villages, communities, and towns whose ancestors were not royals, but the perceived slave who by hard work or other reasons became royals. Okay, notwithstanding the effort to give credence to indentured servant, it does not exhaustively describe the system we had in place before the coming of these devils. One significant aspect of what happened, especially with most of the Akan people, was that they inherited maternally, thus in the situation where in one generation there are not enough women, they acquired girls to make up the shortfall so their children would help the family keep the numbers. Okay? No wonder it is suggested that there is not one extended family today in Ghana, and especially with the Akan people, who would not have a line or two that would not be part of the family originally, but being someone brought in. Having this in mind makes it a little difficult to describe the system after the foreigners, which are known as the devils, had come, because their system corrupted the system in place prior to their coming. Okay, so Esau, when you went over there, people always they try to make it so simple, like, oh, they went over there, picked our people and brought them over here. Nah, they went over there and they corrupted the people over there. That's why Jake around the whole world acts the same way. The 2/3 of our people, everywhere you go, they love the white man. They love Esau. Okay? Why is that? Because Esau has done a great job perpetrating that he is God on earth. And you know our people, with that spirit of embracing the devil, okay? You thinking that you embracing the Most High, but guess what? You embracing the least of the least. Okay? And you're pushing away the Most High and His word, man. And that is why 2/3 of you are going to die. You did that to Yahweh Shai. Okay? Remember that. Alright? So look, man. Our people got a lot to pay for too, man. Alright? It says, there were basically 3 ways by which one could become a slave before the coming of the devils. Some became slaves by being prisoners of war. Okay? That's written in the scriptures, how to deal with that. Okay? It's written in the scriptures how to deal with captives of war. Alright? It says, some by being given as pawns for a debt. Okay? And also those who might have committed various offenses. Alright? Look, man. Our people are Israelites. That's it. These practices differed from the shadow slavery introduced by all standards by the foreigners/invaders. Okay? So shit. Easy. They invaded. Okay, I like that word. Invaders. Nice. To the foreigners, once one was a slave, he or she would always be a slave. You see Esau right there? A slave to them was the absolute property of his or her master, had no protection against the wickedness of the master, could never marry without the consent of the master, could never own property, could never earn his or her freedom or beget free descendants, was a tool to be used and to be discarded when not good. Who does that sound like? That sounds like Esau to me. Okay? They have that system in place now. And right now, you people think you're free. You work your whole life until you're 70 something, and then they hit you with this, oh, you get your pension. My nigga, I've lived my whole life. In my prime, I was working for you. And now that I'm old and I can't do shit, that's when you want to give me the money. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do with this money? What females am I gonna be banging with this money? No, I ain't getting shit. And then guess what? You die 2 years after. That's what Esau does, man. He'll use you out until you're no good, and then he'll just discard you. Okay? They dump your ass in a hospital home. You got all these war veterans, and they ain't getting treated right. You know? And me personally, like, I mean, if you're a 2/3 and you're a war veteran, especially if you're an Israelite and you fight for this country, bro, that's put you in slavery, and you deserve not to be taken care of, man. Okay? Because you're not being wise. You're fighting for your oppressor. You're stupid. It is what it is, though. You know? It says, a slave could not be sold away from his or her children. It's like a slave could be sold away from his or her children, or see them sold away, never to see them again. Yo, that's wicked as hell, man. It says, it was not a crime if a free man killed a slave. It's not a crime. It says, indeed, a slave was to work all day he or she was working, regardless if he or she was sick, tired, or even weak. So this cannot in any way be compared to the situation we had, where to a large extent the respect of a person depended on how well he cared for his servants, as they were called. Okay? So back then, our people were really on point with that, man. They didn't treat their servants like shit. And I'll give you a prime example of that. Okay? This is the book of Kings. 1 Kings chapter 10. Start off at the top. It says, and when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices, and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom and the house that he had built, it says, and when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and their cupbearers, and their ascent, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, there was no more spirit in her. So she was looking at how his servants were decked out, and it made her pass out. Okay? She passed out. Alright? It says, verse 6, it says, and she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in mine own land of thy acts and thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and mine eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. Verse 8, hear this out. It says, happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee, and that hear thy wisdom. So happy are your servants. Why? Because Solomon was a just ruler. Okay? He wasn't an asshole like these devils, man. He knew how to rule. And Solomon, yo, listen. The Most High talks about how, in the scriptures, it talks about how we're going to, the elect of Israel are going to be joint heirs with Yahushai. Yahushai's same spirit is Solomon. Okay? So that means that we're all going to be just rulers. All our servants are going to be happy in the kingdom. All our people are going to be happy in the kingdom. The whole earth will be happy in the kingdom. These devils will be happy to go back to their first estate, which is what? Being the devil and being the basest of men, and you're going to go back to where you came from, which is the caves and the undergrounds. You'd like building underground bunkers? You motherfucker, we're gonna put you in there, but it's not gonna be no $3 billion everything in there. No, you're gonna have nothing but freaking worms to eat, bitch. That's what you like to eat. You're gonna get that. Alright? You're gonna get that. So we're going to give you some of that. Alright, Esau? And you're going to get your ass whooped every single day. Because you don't know how to rule, and we're going to show you how to rule. We'll beat that in you. You fucking devils. Alright, so I hope this was edifying to the elect.